Welcome back to Grit and Gumption. This is what we're going to call our chick chat because we're chatting again. And we decided a couple weeks back that we were going to do a video on being prepared and I guess what all that entails, because I've had so many people ask me about it and they don't even know where to begin. I'm like, well, what are your habits? What do you like to eat? You know, think about the things you do on a daily and what you need, what your needs are, what your family's needs are, especially special need people. Any of that stuff, you should have anything that they need. If the power goes out or whatever, you should at least have it stocked up.
I think the best way to do that in your mind is think about your daily schedule, what you do on a daily basis. Do you have breakfast? Do you eat a lunch? Do you make dinner? You're going to have to look out for all three of those events. You're going to have to plan ahead. So if you think about what you would do in those three cases with no power, that will give you a good idea of how to pick up the pieces along the way and prepare.
Yeah, you could even like make it a fun thing, and believe it or not, the best way to find out what you need is turn your power off. Don't use anything that involves power and see what you need to get by. You'll find out really fast. Basically what we did in our house is I can a bunch of food because I don't have it in the freezer. So if the power goes out, my food's still good. I dehydrate, I vacuum pack stuff. And when I think about the things that I need, I think about, okay, I'm going to be cooking on a wood fire outside or a grill or a smoker because that's what I have available to me. I do have a propane little one-shot stove burner thing. I have a butane one because I have backups because, just let me say, if you think you're going to make a fire outside and your wood is wet, I guess you're not going to make a fire outside to cook with, are you?
Well, and it's 30 below and the wind is blowing in the winter here in Indiana like it does, you might as well forget. You're going to have an indoor fire source.
Yeah, or you're going to have a safe one that you can use either on the porch or whatever. But you need a backup to your backups even is what I'm saying, because things happen and different circumstances, you never know what you're going to encounter. Just be ready.
If you've ever been camping, you have a good idea. But still, there are things you need to allow for. So we'll get started. Well, our first topic is who would be in your circle of friends and family that you might need to look after or that you might need to make a community with.
Yeah, this is like when things go sideways. After you've been spending your last couple years preparing, putting food back, making sure you have what your family needs, and then all of a sudden somebody's knocking at your door. What's going to happen?
And they don't have food, and it's your neighbor that you've lived next to for 30 years.
Yeah, and they've seen you do all this. They see you out there sweating in the sun, working your garden, and
puts you in a tough position to have to say no or yes, or can you afford to give some of your things away that you've prepped for? Those are all things that you need to think about, because it's not just yourself that would be going through this. It would be a lot of people that you know, perhaps family as well. So
yeah. We're our family. We have a compound that we have that's stocked and all of our things that we prepare for such situations. We have a lot of it there, but we also have stuff at our homes just in case, you know, if it happens when you're at home. But we're pretty well stocked for everything.
We broke it down. I have my family. I have a daughter. She has children. My husband has 2 children and they have children. So you need to converse with them. And my daughter and I have combined our efforts and tried to both get the things that we both need from time to time. A little bit extra every time you go to the grocery store is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And it's been a little pricey, but I would rather be able to feed the children than not to feed them at all because I didn't plan ahead. Because I can tell you there are things out there that are possible for you to buy that are real inexpensive, but that will give you a lot of protein and a lot of good health. So we'll go over those in just a little while.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about long-term being without power, you have a whole nother idea how you cook and what you need for that. As well as we were discussing recipes. Because if we had to make bread, I could do bread. It wouldn't be like the best bread in the world probably, but I've made bread several times and it's okay. Charlotte,
I've never made bread.
Yeah. And I don't do biscuits at all.
It's hard to make bread when you can go buy a loaf for $1 or $2. Yeah. It's, you know, it's worth the saving of time. However, when I realized that I didn't have a clue on how to make a bread, any kind of a bread, then I went to look for a recipe. I looked online. I got a couple books that I thought would help, and lo and behold, I walked into one of the bookstores and there was a $10 book on every kind of bread you would ever want. So I went ahead and purchased that book, and I have been making recipes out of it for the last several weeks, and they've all turned out really nice. So, you have to be prepared to make bread, which means you're also going to have to prepare ahead of time to get extra staples, such as flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, those kind of things to make a bread if you should need it.
Yeah, and along with that is back to the book again and the recipes. If you don't have internet and your phone isn't working, it's going to be pretty hard to be pulling up at the last minute how to do this stuff. So you need to be prepared. We have books on foraging. We have books on seed savings. We have books on herbs, medicinal herbs, how to bake, how to make cheese, whatever it is, how to cure meat. You need to familiarize yourself with these processes and at least get footnotes on how to do it so that, you could maybe pull this off or try it. You need to try it ahead of time. I've been doing all kinds of stuff, but you just have to be prepared for that kind of thing. And being prepared isn't waiting for the last minute and then thinking you're going to be able to pull it up on the internet, because that's not going to happen.
Right. And Rhonda and I have older parents as well. So that's another thing that you really need to think about. My parents don't even want to hear about anything to prep for. They're 75 years old and they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to take the time. So we feel as though it's our job to go ahead and step up and take care of them. So we got the things that they're going to need. Like, just perhaps if one of your parents is in an adult diaper, you might think to go ahead and get some of those ahead of time. We don't have that issue.
No.
Thank goodness. But
later down the line, we might when this happens.
We
so
might.
Better
Right.
be prepared.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that you don't think about. Also, feminine hygiene products, you really don't think about. We take a lot of things for granted, and you really need to break down your day and how you live your life so that you can make arrangements for you specifically and whoever is in your circle of friends to take care of.
Basically, our circle is our immediate families and our parents and our children's. The grandchildren, children, us, and our parents.
And you all need to have a written plan that everyone knows. If there's no power and there's no way to communicate to get to one another, you need to have an idea of where you would like to all meet up if it should come to that, and maybe a time even to meet up, just so you have all of the information together in one place and everyone has and knows the information.
Yeah, kind of like it goes along the line of if you had a fire in your home, where your family goes on your property for a safe place so that everybody can be accounted for and everybody's there and they're safe.
Right.
Same thing for a flood. If something happens, what's your protocol? What are you going to do? You guys should have these things all set out ahead of time and planned out so everybody knows what's happening and what to do at any certain time.
It is hard to prepare for something that you don't know is coming, but you just prepare the best that you can. Think of power outages. Think of maybe not having the food we're used to. Think of maybe not being able to get seeds to grow a garden one year. Think about those things that could possibly happen and prepare yourself the best way that you can. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I got microgreen seeds at Dollar General for less than $1, 2 for $1.
Yeah.
So you can grow your own microgreens, and you can take matters into your own hands and come up with ideas that you didn't even think were options. So do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
But
if you save your seeds, like they say, put them in a well-sealed container, put them in the bottom of the refrigerator, they're going to last for quite a while. You'd be amazed how long they would really last and be good. And I save my seeds for everything.
Yeah. I have a ton of seeds as well.
Yeah. Not too much room in the fridge taken up for that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do without it. And then again, without power, okay, what are you going to do for power? You need solar chargers. If you have any of those, you better have some batteries. If you needed a generator, solar panels for your chargers, for larger ones, an inverter, you might be able to hook up to your vehicle, different things like that. You need to think about those things ahead of time. Those are kind of expensive, some of them are, but I think that you'd be surprised what a relief it is when you finally have them.
You can find your way around some of it. Batteries are really expensive, but they're not at the Dollar Tree. Now, all the batteries at the Dollar Tree might not last a long time, but you could buy several of them for $1 a pack, is my point. And and still, you know, you're bound to have some of them that are fine and work
Yeah.
really well. So,
And you can get those flashlights for $1 at Walmart even. And then, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, those solar lights for outside. Just that you stick in your landscaping. Set them out there all day long. In the evening, you can bring them in and you have light. You don't have to use battery power at all. I mean, there's lots of options. You know, your candles, your oil lamps. Make sure you have extra wicks. Make sure you have extra lamp oil. You know.
yep, we just went through that ourselves. So.
Yeah, you just have to think of all those things ahead of time. Just start thinking about heating. Start thinking about lighting. You know, your food. You think about the basics. You know, you have to have flour. You have to have salt. You have to have sugar, butter or oils, proteins. You know, dry
Crisco.
beans.
Maybe
Yeah,
some
you can
Crisco.
actually. That's another option for heat. You can actually use a lard can for heat, and it lasts for hours. And look these things up. You can use a terracotta pot for plants, and make a heater out of that for your room. That's pretty safe. Actually, put it in the middle of the table or on a coffee table or someplace safe, and that'll heat your room up. There's lots of different ways to heat your room up. You have propane heaters. There's kerosene heaters. Just make sure you read the directions. Have good ventilation. If things get extremely cold and you need to block off the rooms in your home that don't have water pipes in them, or won't be damaged, and all stay around the same area. And if it's extremely cold, we were talking about, you could put a tent up and everyone stays in the tent. You got all that body heat together. You could put a heavy quilt over the top or whatever. Just make sure you have some ventilation, and you could put a couple candles in there and that would keep you warm. I mean, you'd be amazed at what you can do to keep yourself warm. You just have to think ahead and be prepared for these things and look it up. You know, take the time now to do it instead of the last minute when it's too late.
Yes, that's very important. Okay, well, we can move along to some foods.
Yeah.
Maybe how to prep as far as food goes, so that if things do get tough, you can still eat something.
If you see something on sale, you need to grab it.
You
I mean,
do.
if you get a good price on something, especially any kind of a protein, you need to grab it.
Right. Which brings me to the rice down here. This is just plain old rice. It's a long grain rice. It takes a little while to cook, but the point of this is that it's 89 cents, and this is a lot of rice for a family. This could feed a family. This is a cheap way to ensure that you do not starve to death. And beans are the same way. They're inexpensive. They give you a ton of protein. They are very good for you. And, you know, if you're starving, some beans and some rice might taste really good.
Oh yeah. And we're going to do a video on canning meat, probably before the week's out. It should be up. But
Now, you know, if you know anything about the past and anything that maybe the sailors went through when they were on the sea, they didn't have any fruits. They had some food to eat, but they didn't have fruit, and then they ended up getting scurvy. So you have to have some sort of a fruit in your plan, whether it's a dried fruit, you know, dehydrated, or however you can it, whatever you can do, but you have to have fruit. Even if you buy the pull top cans when they're on sale, you know, you can store those and they last for a little while as well, but you have to have some fruit. So think about that for yourselves as well.
yeah, I always put up all my cherry tomatoes. I dry them and put them up. And then we do apples. I have a lot of dried fruit that I put up, but then I also can a ton too. So we have a bunch of cooked apples and pears, and I have pineapple. You get pineapple for really good sale at Aldi all the time. So you can get that and can that, or dehydrate it.
Yeah, I made dehydrated pineapple. I had never done it. Oh my gosh, it was like candy. It was great. Even the kids liked it. So you might think about dehydrating a pineapple. It's kind of like a dessert.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, cheap, protein.
Yep, peanut butter is like $1 a jar maybe, and you can buy 10 for 10 when they come into Kroger, 10 for 10.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we always buy the big one, huge jars. If we get a good sale on them, just throw them back.
Yeah. Chickens for eggs, you might, you know, if you don't have access to getting eggs, and you could maybe think about getting a couple chickens. If they were going to produce eggs for you, at least you could have that for protein. If we have nothing, you know.
If you buy eggs from a farmer that doesn't wash them, and they're clean, you can water glass them and save them for a couple years.
Yeah, a long time.
So, yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, but you can look up water glassing Here on YouTube even. There are plenty
Even
of
not to
videos
wash
about it.
the
Yeah, don't
eggs,
wash the bloom
yeah.
off of it, yeah.
If you don't wash it, they last a lot
Yeah.
longer.
And you can also pickle eggs, which I love pickled eggs, but you can pickle those too. And we always have those in the fridge, and I make them for Mom about every 3 weeks because she loves them for breakfast. But yeah, I always have a couple jars of those in the fridge anyway. So, but yeah, any of your dried like pancake mix, syrup with that, you could do that on a grill easy with a skillet. Anything powdered milks, I actually canned milk, so we'd have it for the babies if anything happened.
And I bought powdered milk, which is really expensive. I was shocked at how expensive it is.
Yeah.
It would probably be better to can the milk. It would be less expensive and better.
Yeah, you can get milk at actually Dollar Tree on the shelf though. Shelf stable milk on the shelf at Dollar Tree.
Okay.
For $1, of course. Well, some places that dollar's going up at those Dollar Trees
$1.25
are raising their prices.
tree.
Yeah, $1.25 tree. But like baking soda, salt and peppers, powdered drinks, that's a good one. It doesn't take up much room, those teeny little packets, and you can just put them right in water. So, but water, a filtration system for your water, so that you have good drinking water.
The water is very important. If you have a well, you can look this up. You can look it up. You can go buy some PVC and a couple other items from the hardware store, and you can get water out of your pump. If you do not have a well, then you might want to go ahead and start buying distilled water is $1, right? 89.90 cents. The bottled water, I know where I shop, is $3 for like 32 of them. And I've been buying those just to have on hand. We never know what's going to happen. So you also, if you had to get water, we have a stream down below our house. If we had to get water, we could take it out of the creek, but we would have to somehow, we'd either have to have a water straw to make it sanitized and disinfected so we can drink it, or we'd have to have the pills that you drop in, and purify your water. Yeah. Also bleach. They say like 1 drop of bleach to an entire gallon. You can do that as well. And again, the Dollar Tree is a great place to buy bleach in bulk, 4 or 5 bleaches to have on hand.
Yeah, unscented bleach.
Because it
has to be unscented bleach.
Double duty. You can clean with it and disinfect with it, as well as use it for disinfecting your water.
Yeah. As far as putting foods up, pickled foods, you can them, they last forever. Freeze dried foods. Your canned foods, dehydrated foods, cured foods, anything in those Mylar bags you can put away.
Yes, which we have some of those to show.
Honey is a good sweetener. It stays good forever. I mean, forever.
Yeah, honey never rots. It will last absolutely
And it's
forever.
a good medicinal, has a really good medicinal purpose.
These are a Mylar bag. These are a little bit small, so they'd be for smaller items. If you don't use much sugar, let's say you could put like 2 cups of sugar in here and seal it. I use a flat curling iron, a flat iron. It has a seal in it. Let me open it for you.
Good luck. I can't hardly open anything anymore.
Yeah, they're hard to get open, but it has the snap seal in it. But then after you do the seal, you just burn the top of it with the curling iron and it seals it really well. You can freeze things in this. I have made some hydroxychloroquine and I put in here and froze that. Also, it comes with the pouches for if you're going to use sugar, or it comes with these pouches where you order these from. So
keep the humidity out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. And then also you want to talk about your appliances that aren't plug-inable that you're going to need. Like your hand graters, your can openers, knives and choppers, an iron skillet or a Dutch oven,
rocket stove. You can make a rocket stove out of
camping
cinder
stove,
rocks.
a fireplace, outside fire pit, smokers, sterno burners, propane cooktop things, butane ones, whatever.
A camp stove.
Yeah.
For that, so you can still cook.
Yeah. Also, I always have vinegars, vitamins, minerals, tinctures, alcohol, 4 tinctures, and we have plenty of herbs and stuff like that. Well, we always have that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on here. Make sure you have your coffee and your teas if that's what you like, and powdered creamers if you don't have any milk to put up. Then let's see what else is on the list here. We pretty much hit the heat situation. Yeah, you need to have tarps and blankets and stuff like that. Plastic for your windows, help keep that heat in. Sleeping bags, the good old sleeping bag. I mean, that's a good way to stay warm for sure. Put your thick clothes on, your polar fleece stuff or jeans or whatever, and some nice warm socks, some wool socks, good boots and shoes, rain ponchos. You never know when you're going to need those. Hand and foot warmers. You can buy them cheap and just stick them back. I always stick those in like stocking stuffers and stuff.
I do too. The packaged warmers from hunting and such. Yes, we use those too.
Also, camping lanterns for lights, matches and lighters, flashlights, candles, lamp oil, batteries, the generator, solar chargers.
Matches are a big thing. You should have a couple hard boxes of the long, big matches. You should have those just on hand in your...
Yeah, and your fuels for all your, your propane, butane, all that.
Yep.
The babies, anything you need for babies. We're talking baby food, we're talking wipes, we're talking diaper rash ointment, we're talking baby
formula,
medicine and formula, gum stuff, those teething screams that they just can't handle, that pain.
Medicine.
Yeah, you be ready for it.
Buy some extra cough syrups, buy some extra of things that you think you might need for the children if they would get sick. Make some hydroxychloroquine ahead of time and get it in bags and put it away.
Yeah.
You're only going to be as prepared as you
and even if you get a good deal on stuff that you don't particularly use or your family doesn't, that's a trading item for something you might need later. Somebody else might need something, and they might need that. And you might say, hey, well, I'll give you this if you give me, whatever. You might get a pretty good deal made out of that since their needs are pretty bad, especially when it comes to baby diaties, things like that. Buy a couple packs of them, or adult diapers or wipes or the diaper rash. I mean, who wants a baby that has diaper rash and not have an ointment for that? That's terrible, so, don't think just because you don't use it that you might not use it. If it's a good deal, it'd be worth it to have it. Let's see. Oh, animals. Yeah, your animals. Extra food, extra meds for your animals, extra bedding for your animals.
Yes.
All that stuff. Yeah, anything that you need for them for sure. Clothesline and pins, clothespins, rope, buckets for washing, needles and threads, and of course the infamous duct tape.
Yes. A couple rolls of duct tape.
For sure.
You can use that on anything.
Yeah, and don't forget, one of my biggest things is a fresh mouth. So toothpaste, and more toothpaste, and extra toothbrushes.
Or you can use baking soda if you run out of toothpaste.
Yeah, and I have, but yeah, I can't. Gotta have.
Well, it doesn't have any fluoride in it, so that's a good thing.
Yep, deodorant. Anything you need if you needed those pads for your breastfeeding, anything like that.
Hygiene.
Yep. So cleaning supplies. Oh, actually, we'll go to this medical too. The alcohol peroxide, antibiotic ointments or antibacterial and antiseptics, bandages. If you have any way, you could have a BP monitor or an oximeter. Stuff like that might be handy if something went bad. Ice packs, ace bandages, steri-strips, gauze, things like that. Just be prepared. Cleaning supplies, multi-purpose cleaners, and your bleach, of course. You can use that for water and for cleaning. White vinegar is a good cleaner. You can use that.
Yes, for a lot of things, actually.
Yeah, laundry soap and your dish soap, scrubber sponges and brushes, and the buckets, of course. And then you have to think about the things you need for your car.
Yes.
Because,
if it still works.
Yeah. Yeah. So extra items you need for car maintenance, whether it's oil or some gas put back, which you should have put back anyway.
Oil,
steering fluids, Yep. Extra belts and filters.
Yep.
Kids.
Well, also back to the car, you might as well go ahead and take your gas cans that you have and fill them up.
Yeah.
When you fill up your car, if you do that once a week or once every 2 weeks, whatever, take your available cans and have them fill as well. If you don't have one, you might go pick up one large can for gasoline only and just keep it on hand. You just never know. Yeah. And again, if you don't use it, you could trade it.
Right. Don't forget the kids.
Oh my gosh, yes. Don't forget
Toys
kids.
and balls, paper, crayons,
Books.
pencils, books, scissors, and don't forget cakes and frostings for birthday parties. You can't, because that's a bummer. Who wants to not have your birthday remembered, right? And your candles for them. Trying to think here.
But during hard times, you cannot be frivolous
No.
and be making cakes and stuff.
No, but if you can get them on sale, which I have, and the brownies, because I mean, who can live without fudge brownies? When things are tough, once in a while, hey, there you go.
You're gonna have to figure out a way to bake.
Yeah,
and I get yourself a metal box, whatever. You have to figure out a way to bake.
Yeah, I can do that in a Dutch oven, no problem.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things in a Dutch oven, and that might be another good thing for you to look up. Things you can do in a Dutch oven, because we're not used to that. We don't live that way these days.
You can make bread, you can make any baked goods
Yes,
in there. Anything.
Exactly.
Another thing is a first aid book, but I'll go back to this, a binder. If you had a binder and let's say you're at home and your pipes burst, okay? If you're thinking ahead of time, what do I do if I have pipes burst? Have a section in your binder for that. Have a section in your binder. What if we got a fire? What am I supposed to be grabbing? Because if you're a person that freaks out when anything happens and you just can't think straight, well, you got it on a binder, flip to the page real quick and go to it, I mean, easy peasy. So a book on first aid, a book on CPR for sure, and believe it or not, delivering babies, because you never do know if your neighbor or someone coming down the road or the path or whatever, somebody might need help.
That's right. You never know.
I mean, those of us who have had babies could probably pull it off, but some of us maybe not.
I wanted to show this book to you. I bought this book. This was a used book that I bought, and it only cost me like under $20. This book is so full of information for you that you definitely need. Even if nothing happens in the world, you still need this book. You need to go and forage for your own items for herbs and remedies. I'll just show you in the book. It does give you what the flower looks like. It tells you all the research that's done on it, the habitat cultivation, the key constituents, key actions. It tells you how to make an infusion or an ointment or whatever you need to make out of this item for your health. The wonderful thing is there is almost, I think there is an herb for absolutely anything that ails you. And this book breaks it all down for you. It is very informative, and you really need to have this on hand, especially if you have no internet or power. This book could save your life or life of one of your loved ones at any rate.
Yep.
So I just wanted to put that in there.
I see you have another book there.
Yes.
That bread book.
Yes. I have a bread book. This is the book that I got on sale. I just happened to walk in, and the Lord's so good. He always puts things right in front of me.
It's funny.
And this was right there staring me in the face for $10 on clearance. So I bought it, and I have used it, like I said, several times. It has regular bread recipes, muffins, scones, dessert breads, essential breads. This was the book for me. You might just want to go get a recipe, and that's that. And that's fine too. So.
Yeah, but if you do get a recipe, try it out and try it until you get good at it.
Do try it.
Because you're going to want to be good at it when you need it.
You never know.
Another book is, believe it or not, I found this at some little reading 5 and dime store, and I loved it. I had to get it. It was 35 cents. I just got it like 2 weeks ago. The good old ball blue book. And I have several of these. But if you have not done any preparedness, I'd get you one of these and I'd start reading it, and everything you need to know about canning anything is in it. And it has some really good recipes, but it's all in there. And
don't let it scare you.
Nope, don't let it scare you. I was scared to death to pressure can, and I didn't do it for years. And I had my grandmother's pressure canner for years and didn't use it. 2 of them even. And I was like, I can't do it. And finally I told my husband, I said, just come in here with me when I do it and just stay in here with me. And I remember it was really late at night and we started it. And I went upstairs and laid down, and my bed was right over where the stove was. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't be laying here.
That might not be a good area.
Probably blow it up. But anyway, I got over it. It is kind of intimidating at first, but if you follow the instructions like you're supposed to, and you never leave it, you never go outside and you do anything. You never go get on the phone and just chit-chat it up for a while. You just pay attention to it all the time. You need to stay around the kitchen area and just pay attention. You're going to be fine. And it's so rewarding that it's unbelievable. And now I am so addicted that there's not a week that I usually don't use my pressure cooker at least 3 times.
Well, the good thing about that is that you know exactly what's in that jar.
Yeah.
You put it in there. You don't have to worry about this chemical is or that chemical is or, oh my gosh, does it have this in it? Nope, it has only what you put in it, and you can't beat that. Not in this day and age especially.
Also, your foods that you're storing, you need to make sure that they are at a cool temperature, in a dark place, out of the sun, not getting warm. And you need to rotate your dates if you're buying cans from the store. You need to rotate, of course, everything you can. You should be putting a date on as well. But yeah, you need to rotate your dates. So the stuff that's the oldest is in the front always. You can stay, that way you don't waste anything.
Yes, yes.
It'd be a real, pain to go ahead and put all that time into stuff and then you can't use it. Although I will say your used by dates on your store products are a suggestion. It's not an actual, oh my God, it's no good now. No, it's still good, but I wouldn't go 5 years past it, but I would say 6 months, I would not worry about it. Yeah. I would still use it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that's a place that you could get started, what we've all talked about here today. You need to just think about the things that you do on a daily. And don't buy foods that you're not going to eat to store back. You're not going to use it. So buy the things that you and your family like. Figure out how you can store it. If you can at all store it without having to use a freezer, even better.
Yes.
Yeah.
You all know this stuff here.
Yep.
It's not great for you, but this is cheap. This is what, $2 or $3 for this entire package. And there's 12 of them in here. So that's 12 days of food, almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Even if it's one a day, you can cut it in half, and even because it makes a lot of noodles. I can feed all 3 of my grandchildren with one packet of this, and they love it. But it's cheap. It's easy to store. It doesn't take much but hot water to make, and surely you can figure out how to get yourself some hot water.
Yeah, pastas and salsas. Same thing.
Pastas and salsas are great.
Yep.
A little goes a long way.
Yep.
It's a carbohydrate, plus the sauce is usually good for you.
Yep.
Your spices, you need to make sure you get extra spices so that it doesn't make it dark and dreary if we have those bad days. I don't know. If you start a little at a time, it's not so overwhelming. If you're just now getting started, you're a little late to the party, but you can still make it work. But you're still
invited.
Yes, and you can still make it work. And that's why also community and family is so important, because someone else might have been preparing with other things that you didn't think of, and you were preparing. And don't feel embarrassed to call and say, hey, listen, I've heard some things going on, and I think maybe we should just try to prepare a little bit. Why don't we try to do this a little bit together? And then you can talk and each make a list and be responsible for your own items or what have you.
Or different parts of.
We have broken it down. She's taking care of all her family. I'm taking care of all mine. My other sister is taking care of all of hers. But then we all know who's going to be where and when. And then if something really goes bad, we all have another plan to meet somewhere else at a certain time. And
then we have different responsibilities.
Who to pick up,
as far as that goes.
If we can pick people up. So you need to be prepared. Also, if you don't know what a ferret